And now I'll share my screen. Nope, not that one. Sorry about this. I will get it right, I promise. Here we go. Okay, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us tonight. I guess we'll officially call this meeting to order. Thursday, November 16th, the PTSO meeting for Homestead High School. Welcome everybody. We're very excited to have our guest speakers here tonight. Shelley, thank you so much for being here with us to present our budget situation to our membership here. And I was always very much looking forward to hearing from Austin, Melissa, and Mr. Ebert about all the goings on. So I guess with that, I'll just kick it right off to you, Austin. Are you on the, do we have you on the line? I don't see Austin. Anybody? Why don't we go ahead to Melissa Blahnik, and if Austin joins us, we'll go back to him.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, everybody. I do know, just to say a couple things about what the students are doing. I believe we had last time we talked, it was the weekend that it was like the play and all kinds of sport events that were coming up. So I had some students in the play, and although I think they were exhausted, they were really happy with how it turned out. And I also have some students that are involved in one act that are taking off tomorrow, and they're excited about that. You know, we've also had a transition to winter sports, so kids involved in some of those events and clubs. And I believe student council is working on some projects of their own that hopefully we'll be able to hear about. Last time we met, I know you all voted too on the mini grants, so thank you again for your generosity and all that went into kind of looking over people's proposals. I know that teachers were really excited to be granted those, so thank you again on their behalf. I just have a couple things. I believe last time we talked too, it was around the time where the AP forms were due. We even had some follow-up questions on that. Our AP coordinator, Jackie Connolly, actually sent us an email just for clarification for folks moving forward. So at this point, Jackie Connolly has entered like the tests for students. If at some point a student still wanted to take an exam and didn't sign up, she said that we should tell people that they can still sign up, but they would need to contact her, Jackie Connolly. And then fees would be put on your account, and there would be a $40 late fee, but it is still possible. If for some reason a student that signed up decided not to take the exam for whatever reason, you would also be able to contact Jackie Connolly moving forward, and she would be able to issue a partial refund. So just so people are aware that was something we talked about last time, and now you would be able to have know what to do moving forward. We are also what's on teachers and students' minds, exams and kind of end of the trimester assessments. So just a few dates to be aware of. I believe Mr. Ebert sent this out, or maybe he'll talk more about it, but before Thanksgiving, because things are a little different this year in our timeline, Monday and Tuesday are the last days that we should be having unit quizzes or assessments, so that after that students can simply focus on, after Thanksgiving, focusing on exams and studying for those, or performance assessments, or whatever it is they're going to be doing to wrap up their studies in their trimester 1 class. We will have grade books updated by November 28th, and on the 29th, which is Wednesday, students can declare exemptions. And then our exams for exam day 1 will be Thursday, November 30th. We'll have some review periods, last minute review for students. And then we will take exams 1 and 2. That'll be a full day on November 30th. And Friday, December 1st is the last day of the trimester for students, where they'll take their final exams for periods 3 and 5. Infinite Campus will always close. I think that's the 30th, Mr. Ebert. November 30th, and then it'll reopen, I believe, December 11th. And then we will have kind of a day to prepare and grade and meet as a staff, and we will be starting trimester 2 before we know it here on, I believe, December 5th. So kind of wrapping up, but winding down simultaneously. Lots going on for our students and staff. And I probably missed something, but that's what I have on my little notes.
That's great. Does anybody have any questions or need any additional information, questions about the AP exams or anything like that? Fantastic. Glad to know everyone was excited to with the mini grants. I think we're also trying to make a push on some of the wish list items. I think Roberta will touch on that too.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Did we get Austin or no? I can't see all the participants very easily.
It doesn't look like it.
Okay. Okay. Well, then I'll turn it over to you in the sunny Homestead world.
Always sunny at Homestead.
That's right.
Isn't that a show one time? Thank you, Melissa. Obviously, Melissa does a great job. Everybody who is typically on these calls knows that Melissa does a great job talking about the student and faculty experience at Homestead. I want to reiterate thanks to the PTSO for the approval of those mini grants. Their work with teachers, with Melissa and each other is really, really great. So thankful that we have a partnership with this organization that is designed for the sole purpose of ensuring that kids have the best experience possible. And by helping our teachers out, get things that they're passionate about, get things that they see is important in their classrooms for kids or their workspaces is really, really important. I know you guys know that, but I want to keep reiterating that. And I know Melissa said it too. Melissa did a great job talking about the end of the trimester. If you need to rehash some of those dates, please go back and look at the email that I sent at a different time, but Melissa did hit on all those things. I'll talk about it a little bit more in the sense that our goal for the end of a trimester and why we send that information out every trimester is the same as as our expectations of every class period. It's that we don't have 5 separate micro environments for each student's experience around the building. It needs to be predictable across all their teachers and courses. And so, again, our instructional framework allows for predictability for students. We see that as being an indicator of an opportunity for success for them. And it's the same for final exam time, right? What's happening in Melissa's class should not be different than what's happening in somebody else's classroom down the hallway. So students and families know how to navigate through the end of a trimester. Speaking about navigating through the end of the trimester, Melissa mentioned it, and I know we've talked about this with this group a number of times, our updated trimester 1 schedule this year. We've talked in the past about reasons for why we backed up the final exams till after Thanksgiving break. Of course, it was that way for a long time prior to about 5 years ago. And we attempted to cut everything off before Thanksgiving break. Just hasn't worked out in terms of the equity of courses during a trimester 1 and a trimester 2. We don't need to rehash that, but I think everybody's pleased with the extra time in trimester 1. And it really breaks down nicely. It was my goal from the beginning, our goal from the beginning, to ensure that students would not feel stressed over the Thanksgiving break, and they shouldn't, because there is zero expectation of homework over Thanksgiving break for anyone. And I think there's plenty of time, 3 full days in class to review for exams or, prepare projects or whatever kids are doing for that Thursday, Friday setup. So I think it's a nice setup. I want to reiterate that there isn't homework expected. There's no new work being done after next week, Tuesday. It doesn't mean there's not new learning going on in the classroom. That can happen, but not outside work expectations for students. They really can focus on family while they're out on Thanksgiving break, and then focus in on whatever it is they need to do for Thursday or Friday to end the trimester strong. Obviously, we're off December 4th. I think people know that as well. Students can access their Try-2 schedules. They're on Infinite Campus. So when we return back to school on December 5th, after that 1 day off for the weekend, they would go right to right to first hour in trimester 2, but more information for kids as we get closer to that. Finally, prior to the end of the trimester, students will have the opportunity to complete a survey from me and from many teachers regarding their experience in the classroom. It's important to us that students have a sense of place here at Homestead, feeling seen and heard. You maybe have heard me say these things before. Knowing their peers and classmates, connecting with teachers and other adults, the relational foundation that we try to create in our classes opens students up to learning and promotes positive behavior. And it's important to be able to track how our students are feeling, and they'll tell us in surveys. So they're going to get one from me for sure, for kind of a school-wide thing. And then our teachers oftentimes will, we used to all do it all the time, but most will still do it, send a survey out to their kids to give them feedback on the experience from the trimester from a belonging standpoint. Counseling lens, we've got small group junior conferences coming up, and then some additional meetings at times moving forward. But those small group junior conferences are pretty important. Junior year, as we know, is an important year in preparation for senior year and beyond. So the second week of December, which will happen before we meet again, all juniors will be meeting with counselors to make progress on their academic and career plans. And they'll cover topics associated to Naviance and Zello in terms of finding out extra resources or digging into resources that our school district pays for students to be able to utilize. Really good stuff in Naviance that we've had over the years. And I've dug into and heard great feedback about the Zello platform as well. They're going to review pre-ACT scores that students took in September, and then dig into how students can plan for our state mandated March 19th ACT at Homestead. Certainly an important day for our juniors then. Review transcripts, plan for senior course registration, and really start to dig into an attempt to create a college list and begin planning for college visits, or, discussing financial aid and scholarships. Important work, also learning about apprenticeship opportunities in Ozaukee County. So all juniors will meet to have that conversation with counselors in the second week of December. Our counselors, I think everybody knows, do a great job in providing information necessary to students and families about college and career prep. So I'm happy to report that we'll be doing more of that stuff coming up. Just a preview that registration is coming. It feels like we get into the school year and all of a sudden we're talking about registration for next year. It will kick off once again with a video from me in early January from students, and I'll talk more about it, the process, at our December meeting, as well as a few new course offerings that I'll be able to highlight after the school board decides on them next week. I look forward to talking a little bit more about some additional options for students, but I won't do so till December. We'll wait till the business of the school board is complete. Students will have the opportunity to fill out their Infinite Campus requests in mid-January with a final deadline of January 31st, excuse me, the same as we've always done. Melissa touched on winter sports season. Just as we wrap up fall season, it's about a 1-week break and we're straight into the winter sports season, which has kicked off a couple weeks in already for some, with competitions starting this weekend already in some of the programs. Melissa mentioned the theater program, One Act, which is a quasi co-curricular. It's an academic offering. They left today for their state performance up in Green Bay, which is happening tomorrow afternoon, 2:00 or something tomorrow afternoon. They'll get to perform at the Widener Center in Green Bay. Really cool opportunity. Theater program continuing, right? They just wrapped up a really nice play and go right into auditions for the musical Oklahoma. It doesn't seem to ever be a break in the theater world. Homestead is a microcosm of society, and issues that exist in the real world certainly can have an impact on our student body with how diverse we are demographically. It's what makes Homestead a unique and great place. And so I'll end it with, in the spirit of the season we're in, we have a lot to be thankful for and grateful for here at Homestead. Our students are in a safe learning environment with caring teachers, family involvement, strong academic focus, and all sorts of co-curricular opportunities. It's a great high school to work at, and I believe for each student, a great high school to attend. So I'm grateful for my opportunity to be here, for people like Melissa, for people like those involved in this call here. The Homestead community is alive and well, and important to make note of that in the season of Thanksgiving. I'll take questions if anybody has any. Otherwise, that's what I have.
I think we all appreciate your leadership, Eric, so we're grateful for that. And so thank you for all that you do for our students and its teachers and staff. And I just wanted to make a clarifying point. We're not going to have a December meeting for the PTSO body, but we will have one in January. So that'll be the opportunity to give those updates.
Perfect. I will talk extensively about registration at that time if people have initial questions. Yeah.
Great. Does anybody have any questions? You can unmute or you could type it in the chat. Either way is fine. No? Okay. We'll go right to our guest speaker. We are very fortunate to have Shelley Burns, the president of the Mecklenburg-Thiensville Board of Education, here with us this evening. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen to make it available to you.
That's what I was
you
saying.
had a presentation. Yep. Okay, good. Thank you so much for being here tonight and talking with us about this important topic. So really grateful for this. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. And, as Mr. Ebert said, the board certainly appreciates everything that you do as a PTSO for our students. So, and we really appreciate your engagement. So thanks again for having me. So my topic tonight is not a great one. It is our budget crisis. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we ended up here. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're trying to do about it. So for the last 14 years, the state really has not seen fit to invest in public education in a meaningful way. Even though there was a Blue Ribbon Commission on education funding that recommended increases in education funding be indexed to inflation, and that the state should reimburse special education expenses at a rate of 60%, they have not implemented those recommendations. So this is a graph of basically what has happened over the entire state. So the state imposes revenue limits on schools. Public schools cannot tax or levy, you'll hear us use that word as well, our community for more dollars than the state allows, unless there is a local referendum. So since about 2010, 2011, the state has decoupled our increases to education funding from inflation. So what this graph is showing is that the impact across the entire state, so this is just, everybody gets the same increase every year. So the dark blue line on the bottom are the increases from the state. The gray line across the top is what the increases would have been had they been connected to inflation. So, and this is a per pupil number, just to make it kind of easy. This data, WASBO, which is the Wisconsin Association of School Business Officers, did this graph, but the data is from the Wisconsin Legislative Fiscal Bureau. So it is right from our own resources. And WASBO estimates that by last year, the inflation gap was over $3,200 per pupil. So that has that inflation gap has harmed us. Additionally, the state hasn't really worked on reimbursements for special education for quite some time. So this is a graph that shows the MTSD costs for special education services. Those are the blue bars by year. I wish I had a pointer or something, but I can't figure out how to do that without changing my slides. But anyway, so the blue bars are our expenses for special education services, and the red line goes with the axis on the right-hand side of the chart. That is the percent reimbursement that we got from the state. So you'll see, for example, in 2017, we had about a 50% reimbursement from the state, that red line, and our costs were about $3 million. Well, so they only reimbursed us 50%. Where did we get the rest? We transferred it from Fund 10, which is our general education fund for all students, to our special education fund. So in 2017, we transferred $1.5 million. But the state just had like a bucket of money that they used for special education funding, and they really didn't increase it over the years. So obviously our reimbursement rate went down as our costs went up. So last year we were at about a 29% reimbursement and actually transferred $4.5 million from that general fund to the special education fund. In our most recent biennial budget, we were very hopeful that the state was going to get to that 60% goal that I talked about at the beginning, that was the goal for reimbursement. And we were very, very disappointed that they landed on 33.3%, barely a 2% increase. And, during years when our costs are climbing, precipitously year over year, and our students need our help more than ever, and inflation is just eating away at our budget. So, and I just want to remind everyone that our levy for Fund 10, which is our general education resources, have been pretty flat, given that inflation gap. So that's our dual impact, if you will, the inflation gap and our special education reimbursement. So there was a lot of press around this big increase that we just received. But, as we started learning, or, anticipation of the 2023-25 biennial budget, and because the schools received no increase in the 21-23 biennial budget, we really honed our ask and our advocacy. We and nearly every public school in the state asked our lawmakers for approximately $1,560 over 2 years to overcome that inflation gap and the special education funding gap. They didn't give us the increase in 21-23 because of the ESSER federal funds that we received, but those funds were really supposed to help us with our pandemic related costs, to help our students who were struggling during the pandemics, either with their mental health and or their academic achievement and growth. And they were supposed to be one-time funds for those. But given that we didn't get any increase from the state, a lot of school districts use those monies for ongoing expenses. Obviously, if you use one-time funds for ongoing expenses, when those funds run out, you're going to be in trouble. Over half of the districts in the state are facing a structural deficit due to this particular biennial budget. And we're not different from a lot of people, but we're projecting a deficit this year, which we're covering with our fund balance, but $1.4 million, $2.1 million next year, and 3.4 the year after that. So what has this really done for our state? I just kind of want to show you what has happened statewide. We have fallen from 11th in education funding in 2002 to 25th in 2020. And that happened prior to the freeze that we had in the last biennial budget. And yet, even though our ranking for national education funding has fallen precipitously, Wisconsin Public Schools still do a really good job by our children. I just found these today. U.S. News and National Report, number 6 in education. Wallet Hub, number 4 in education. But we can't continue to provide this, above average results if we're going to continue to have below average funding for our students. So just a quick summary, right? The state pretty much controls how much money a district can generate. They tell us what that is. Of course, getting more students helps us get more funding, but our current space is that we are spending more on average per student to educate them than we are receiving funding. So even getting more students isn't going to help us with the deficit, won't clear out that deficit for us. And then, our federal funds are gone, and the state is really not interested in implementing the conclusions of that Blue Ribbon Commission, namely indexing our increases to inflation and funding special education at 60%. So it was really unfortunate. It wasn't completely clear to us until July 5th when Governor Evers signed the biennial budget, what we were going to get for this year, which is really unfortunate timing, but that's just the way that it works. So we immediately started working on a plan to address these deficits. Due to the late timing of the biennial budget, we're going to use our fund balance. So that is the district's rainy day fund, if you will. It provides us cushions for emergencies. Having this fund helps us maintain our AAA bond rating, and our AAA bond rating allows us to borrow money at highly preferential rates. So the bond rating is at risk as we tap this fund. Fund 46, the other fund that we use to help balance the budget for this year because we had no other options, is our capital projects fund. We use that fund, for example, to do the expensive and needed maintenance on the Homestead pool this year. But drawing down this fund also means we have less money at hand if we have a major facility issue sometime in the future. And neither fund is bottomless. We probably only have the ability to balance our budget using Fund 46 for 1 more year and our fund balance for 2 to 3 years. And they'll both be tapped out at that time. So using those two things are not a long-term solution for us. In addition to, how we're going to fund that deficit, we started prepaying some of our debts. So we have some more breathing room in the future. And saving costs in a variety of other ways around administrative positions, more strategic use of our open enrollment, and again, the fund balance. So what does that mean for MTSD? It's unfortunate we're going to have a lot of very difficult decisions to make over the next few years. So one of the things that we have done is charter a community task force. And we have a long history in our district for using ad hoc task force to delve into issues facing the district. We've used them pretty much, we use them every year for our calendar committee, but our long range master plan, the school boundary task force, the most recent referendum task force, all are examples of the way that we have used task force in the past. And it's a good way for the district and the board to hear from a group of citizens around a specific pressing topic and gain additional insight that they might be able to bring to that topic. Both of the community engagement as well as fiscal management are governed by board policy. And we have policy, as you can see there, in line with both of those. So as a board, our first step beginning in August was to do kind of a decision analysis and a method to kind of rank or discuss various solutions to our budget crisis. And we knew we would be pursuing multiple solutions, but this particular process allowed us to take a look at all the different solutions. So that's operating referendum, it's budget reductions, it's I think we even had selling range line on the list of possible solutions, and you can see all those items in our minutes and our meeting videos if you desire. But these were the objectives that we measured or that we talked about when we were talking about the different solutions that we'd have for the budget crisis. So we ranked these solutions based on these objectives. And after about, I would say 10 to 12, I don't know, I kind of lost count, hours of conversation with the board, our top 3 solutions that we were going to do were to explore an operating referendum sometime, we're not exactly sure when, launch a philanthropic giving campaign, and or use the combination of fund balance and Fund 46. We're still going to be looking for cost reductions where we can, trying to save every possible dime that we can in addition to this work. So with that, the board gave the district the charge to go ahead and launch the task force. And right now they are scheduled to come back to the board with their recommendations at our December 4th working meeting. The task force membership is an array of residents representing a spectrum of opinions and perspectives across the community. We have two really great chair people who are doing that work for us, and the board is really grateful for all the hard work from that task force, and we're really looking forward to hearing from them on December 4th. Oh, and I just wanted to let you know that the district is supporting that task force with, when they have questions. They've been having budget 101 meetings and all that kind of information so that they can have as much information as possible as they think about the variety of ways that we could approach dealing with our current budget deficit. You can read about the task force. There's a web page around it. And the district will be sharing regular updates, as well as you'll be able to hear the report at our meeting. So I just have two quick more slides and then I can take some questions. First, I wanted to let you know that, give you a list of kind of the next board meetings that we have. And I wanted to particularly call out our workshop on November 27th. That is for anyone who is thinking about running for school board. You're welcome to attend that meeting. Or if you just have questions, you're welcome to, contact any board member and ask them questions about being on the school board and the kind of work that we do and what it means. So I hope you would consider that. And that's the end of my presentation, but I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has. Thank you again for having me, and I appreciate the opportunity to chat with you all.
Hey, Ms. Burns, this is Amber Schrader. I do have a quick question.
Sure.
Regarding I know you mentioned it and it looks like it's been taken off the options, but regarding the sale of the Rangeline building, is that still an option that the board is considering? And do you have any information on what is the maintenance cost to keep Rangeline? Is there income that we get from holding on to Rangeline? Is there a benefit that isn't being seen by the community other than the recreation department, or is it still an option?
I will tell you that when we did our decision analysis, which is here, I think I'm sharing it with you all now, right? I don't know where that fell, but we did talk about it, and frankly, Ms. Schrader, nothing is off the table at this point.
Do you have numbers that have been shared with the community on the Mequon Thiensville Rec Department revenue and income streams and how much that program costs us versus what it makes us?
I can't tell you necessarily it doesn't really make us anything, but I can tell you that our tax levy for the recreation department is around $227,000, and it hasn't changed since 2009. So they are self-supporting other than that $227,000. But I think
but there isn't an income to the community from that above and beyond the operating cost.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Anybody else? Well, again, you're welcome to reach out to me or any board member should you have any questions. And again, thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you so much for presenting to us tonight. This is a pretty important topic to all of us, I know. And I was at the area council meeting and certainly appreciate all the efforts that are going on behind the scenes to try to come up with some solutions here. So thanks for sharing all of this with us.
Anytime. Thank you.
Any going once, twice, thrice? Any more questions? Okay. Thank you so much again. Really appreciate your time this evening. All right, so back to multiple screens. Oh, I'm going to share my screen here. Give me a second. I'll get there. Okay. All right. So moving on,
Up next is our officer reports. We'll go to you, Becky, first with the October minutes.
Yep. So October minutes, do I have someone that can move to approve those minutes from the October meeting?
I can do that.
Okay,
Julie.
Julie, do we have a second?
I could second that, Trudy.
Okay, Trudy. All in favor? If you want to raise a virtual hand, say yes. I'm guessing everybody's in agreement
Right.
that the minutes are approved. So.
Fantastic. Jamie, I'm gonna bring you on. You feeling up for it?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. All right. Thanks for being here tonight.
No problem. So our bank balance at the beginning of October was $52,254.22. We had almost $3,400 in deposits, $1,300 for membership, $150 for staff appreciation, $500 for the Highlander Fund, and $1,560 for the senior conference dinner. And we had $115 of Stripe fees taken out for that. In terms of what we spent money on, we had our area council yearly dues of $125. We had beautification committee expenses of $130. That's for the planters out front, and then some hydrangeas for the courtyards. $121 for homecoming committee, and $1,588 for the senior part of the senior conference dinner. And so we ended October with a bank balance of $53,684.80, and that's all I have.
Any questions for our treasurer, for Jamie? Okay. Thank you, Jamie. Now go to bed. Get some rest.
I will.
Okay. All right, Roberta, the president's report.
I wanted to give a little president's report on kind of updating what the PTSO has been working on. And what Melissa Blahnik had said is, about the mini grant feedback. The teachers are very excited about their mini grants, and the art department is already using the monitor for digital drawing. So they're excited about that. And then Mr. E was very appreciative about the grant for the guest musician. Tuesday evening at the orchestra concert, Matthew Ernst, the principal trumpet for the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra, performed with the chamber orchestra and then with the entire Homestead Orchestra, and he was absolutely amazing. I had no idea a trumpet could sound like that. It was so beautiful. It was just singing. It was an amazing experience. And I know that Mr. Ernst I think he spent 5 practices with the orchestra and really worked with them. And so money well spent. That was an amazing mini grant. And I just wanted to give you a little feedback on that. And another area that the PTSO has kind of helped out with is that we donated some money for the Screenagers event that the middle schools put on last night at Homestead in the auditorium. And that include an educational film discussing the use of screens in school, video games, social media, and the risk of addiction. And so the middle school administration gave remarks and answered questions. The event was very well received by district families. There was about 90 to 100 people in attendance. And, we made that decision to give a donation towards that because we wanted to support our future Highlanders. And the middle school's event planners were very happy about that. So, and then also the wish list is, there's a lot of people, we're putting that out in short kilts every week. And there have been a lot of people who have donated to some of the teacher items. There are still items out there, and some of them, we discussed before, are as large as a refrigerator, and some of them are as small as Post-it notes. So if you go on and take a look, I'm sure you can find something that might fit your areas. And so if you could please donate to the teacher wish list, I know that they're very happy about that. So thank you very much. That's kind of all I have.
Thank you, Roberta.
Sure.
Was Lee able to join yet? Yes. Hi, Lee. Do you have any updates for short kilts?
Hi there. No, just continue to send things my way, and I apologize. I completely forgot to put the Screenagers event in this week's. So I apologize to those guys. They had sent it to me and I missed that one, but just continue to email me anything that you would like in there, and I will get it in and hopefully not forget about it like I did that one. That's it.
With all you have and juggle, Lee.
And it wasn't directed for homeschool students, so it's just something that
right, but it would have been nice to get it in there for people with younger kids. But yeah, I mean, oh well,
no worries.
Just keep sending me stuff anyway.
Right. Miss Linda, do you have an update for us about staff appreciation?
I do. December 20th will be sweet treats. It has been confirmed with Nancy. I will be sending a note to Lee, and she will get hopefully some documentation and emails and however she blasts them out. I'll probably touch base with her in a couple of weeks. And that's where we ask people to bring in baked goods, whatever. They do not have to be individually wrapped as in years past. So we're just asking that they get dropped off either the day before or the morning of, like a drop off. We were hoping to get everything set up before the first lunch hour, which is 10 something. So December 20th. That's it.
Thank you so much for keeping everyone fed and happy.
My pleasure, Julie. You know I love this.
I know you do. This is your jam. Okay, and then we do still have an open committee chair for the senior dinner. So any of you who have a senior this year, it's a great opportunity for you to be able to be a part of the senior dinner, because otherwise it's students only. And it's kind of a cool thing to be a part of. I was on the committee a couple of years ago for my older son. So it's just kind of fun to watch the kids do their thing for the senior dinner. So we are still looking for someone there. I believe there was someone who had expressed some interest in doing it with somebody, or at least being on the committee. So it's not like you're completely on your own. The date has been set. The place has been reserved. There's still plenty of time to do the planning needed to get this thing off the ground. So if you know anyone that would be good there, we're open to suggestions. I'll talk a little bit about the area council meeting that we had earlier in the month. The presentation that Shelley Burns just took us through about the budget was a big topic of discussion at the area council meeting, where Dr. Joy presented a lot of the same kind of information with the area council members. And so that was, enlightening. And so I was really glad and grateful to have Shelley here with us tonight to be able to kind of take all of us through the same kind of information. It's one thing to get mailers or emails, but to kind of hear from the people involved makes a big difference. Dr. Joint also thanked all of the parent organizations for a great fall season with conferences, with the athletics, with fall play, and trick or trot with MTEF. So all of that was really wonderful and well attended. The calendar committee is going to be getting underway soon. We have several members from all of the PTOs across the district involved with that. So that will get organized. It's something that is done every year or every other year. I can't recall if we do it for 2 years at a time or just one. But we're trying to align our calendars with the rest of the area, and also just kind of juggling a lot of other priorities to make sure that we get a solid academic calendar put together. And it's a little more complex than people might think it to be. So even though a lot of times people kind of scratch their heads and wonder, why are we starting school here? Why are we taking a day off and coming back here? There really is a method to the madness. So more to come on that. As I said, Dr. Joint went through all of the information that Shelley shared with us already this evening about the budget deficit and what the task force committee has been doing and will continue to do to kind of help us navigate and, you know, consider some different options that we can take. I think one of the things that it underscored for me was just the importance of organizations like ours to be here to support our teachers and administrators, you know, just support them generally, but also specifically financially. Our fundraising becomes even more important to be able to kind of provide those extras in the classroom that are certainly going to not make it onto the budgets when we're facing this kind of a deficit. So that was certainly a big takeaway for me anyway. And I'll plug again, anyone who would like to donate to the Highlander Fund or to Staff Appreciation can still do so via the MTK website. And we welcome all amounts. There will be more information about the task force and about the budget deficit forthcoming via email. So just kind of keep your eyes on that in case if you have any additional information that you want to continue to track with that. Shelley also provided us the school board report and did a very wonderful presentation about the board responsibilities and roles, and kind of explained to us how the Board of Education interacts with the superintendent and with the community, and kind of the roles and responsibilities of the different stakeholders involved. And also a lot of this information I imagine would be shared at the upcoming meeting that Shelley already referenced for those who might be interested in running to be on the board this coming April. So that was a really enlightening presentation that you did, Shelley, and hopefully a lot of that information will be shared in the future for those who might be interested in joining the board. Let's see. I was just reviewing the notes here to see if there's anything I missed. I don't think so. We did, one other thing we did have was Dr. Lauren Croy, our Executive Director of Educational Services, went through the curriculum proposals that Eric referenced at the beginning of this meeting. So the kind of the outcome of all of that, when it's going to be voted on next week, I believe, and then the outcome of that is what Eric said he would be able to share with us in the January PTSO meeting. With that, I think I can turn it over. Is Danny on or no? Is it going to go to you, Roberta?
Yeah, I don't see her.
Okay.
So I can give the MTEF update. The trick or treat run 250 people registered and raised approximately $16,000. The 25th anniversary celebration is the Mardi Gras Bash, and that will be February 24th at Shelley's. Lexi Worth is co-chairing, and if you're interested in joining the committee, please reach out. Joe Ray has been booked to play at the event. The dress code is beads, feathers, masks, sequins, and all that jazz. Jeans to cocktail. Sounds very fun. There will be a cocktail hour, entertainment, silent auction, raffles, plated dinner, short program, and paddle race, fund a grant. Let's see. The give backs coming up. The partnering with the boosters for Bucks game, that was on November 3rd, and MTEF would received $5 for each ticket sold to split with boosters. And let's see, Supercuts November 26th through December 9th, $1 for every haircut goes back to MTEF. Harvey's December 11th, 4 to 8 p.m. Percentage of sales will go back to MTF. And Panera, January 18th. Let's see, Friends of the Foundation Tobin Jewelers will be hosting their Ladies Night event. Oh, I guess they already did, November 2nd, sorry. And the annual campaign has kicked off for MTF. And that's all I have. And then I guess I could, let's see, Julie, should I just roll right into voices?
Yeah, I'll just give another plug for MTF. That's again, as we're looking at what our district is facing from a budget standpoint, the MTF is another critical resource, I think, at our disposal, or at this, for our schools, to support our schools in our district where other funding might fall short. So all these wonderful fundraisers that are being done, that money has always been put to great use, and it's ever more critical now. So.
Okay, great. And
shameless plug.
Nicole is unable to be with us tonight, but she asked me to talk a little bit about Voices. Voices stands for Voices Offering Inspirational for All Children's Educational Support. And they have some outings coming up. November 27th, outing to River Glen. The Thursday, January 18th outing, Best Buddies basketball game at Homestead main gym. And Monday, January 29th, outing to All-Star Fitness. And that sounds like a lot of fun. They have a full calendar.
Okay. Becky, do you have any updates from boosters for us?
Hi, sorry. I was not at the meeting on Monday because I sounded like Jamie and felt like Jamie probably does.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I do not have any updates other than winter sports are getting underway, and I know that they had the chili booster member appreciation event during
Yes.
the first playoff game. I know that the attendance wasn't what they were hoping for, but
She was the guest
I'm sure that was a
PTSO.
discussion.
No, Shelley Burns.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was a discussion.
Hold on, sorry, Becky. Becky, hold on a second, I'll get you. There's some talking, so I was just trying to, okay. I think you can unmute yourself. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, so I know there was some discussion to be had about, the member appreciation event going forward, but unfortunately, like I said, I was not able to attend. So
yeah, and I wasn't either, unfortunately. So yeah, and it wasn't that well attended, but I don't think it was really well advertised or well too visible either. Fortunately, what wasn't given away to the boosters for appreciation, to the membership for appreciation, we were able to sell at the concessions that night. So
all right, and I know that was a big hit because apparently they were asking for it the next day at Cardinal.
Is that right?
So
that's funny.
But I know, yeah, that was a fast pivot because the August event was canceled because of the weather. But so
got it. All right. Winding up here. Any old business? Anyone? You might need to raise your hand because when there's some noise, I think I might have accidentally muted everybody. So sorry about that. All right. Any additional business to discuss? All right. So with that, okay, here, I'm going to push this button, see if that works. With that, does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting? Oh, before we do that, I'm going to note our next meeting where we will hear about those curriculum changes. that are kind of exciting will be Thursday, January 25th. It'll be preceded by the sophomore chat. So those of you who have sophomores, I encourage you to attend. There'll be a lot of really good information for parents then. And then at 7:30 will be our meeting. And we'll have our guest speaker will be Dr. Joint. So it'll be a great time to get together, hear about the curriculum changes, and hear from Dr. Joint as well. Let's see, there is one question that came through Shelley, and tell me if I need to figure out how to unmute you. Did the mailer regarding the budget go out to the entire community? I believe the answer is yes. Let's see if I can. I think you can unmute yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're talking about the postcard, like one that was about 2 weeks ago, yes, it was to go to the entire community.
Okay, good. That was my impression as well. So thank you.
Sure.
Okay. With that, thank you for someone who pointed out the chat to me. I appreciate that. I think we're covered. Any other questions come through that anyone wants to ask? Give it a sec. All right, I think we're good. With that, I'm going to ask for someone to make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
I make
Roberta?
a motion. Yep, I motion.
Okay. And a second?
I'll second.
Awesome.
That's Becky.
And Rachel's already voting in favor. She's ready to go, man. She just wants to get off the phone. Right, Rachel?
No, I was doing the second thing.
I know, I'm teasing.
It was a lovely meeting.
Thank you once again,
Very
Shelley,
efficient.
thank you again, Shelley, for being here with us tonight and for sticking around so that we could ask you some additional questions. So really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
So, all right. With that, all in favor, any opposition to ending the meeting?
Nope.
We're all good.
Thank you all. Have a nice holiday.
All right.
Thank you.
You. Yes, you too. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.